A YouTuber in India named Fayaz Bamizhan travels to the Kalapalli cemetery at midnight, where a humanoid shadow figure is said to haunt anyone foolish enough to come near. This is the exact moment he accidentally caught a ghost on camera, as his viewers would later point out to him. Something hangs back to watch him under the street lamps. Something strange. You can just barely see the shadow moving away if you watch down by its legs. Considering the infamous haunted graveyard is directly beside him, I think it stands to reason that this shadow is paranormal. If you don't believe in witches, history tells us that at some point many did, and innocent people had their lives taken because of it. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Exploring with Danny writes, "The trials of the Pendle Witches in 1612 are among the most famous witch trials in English history, and some of the best recorded of the 17th century. The 12 accused lived in the area surrounding Pendle Hill in Lancashire, and were charged." Danny explores this historical area in the darkness of night, going through the flooded grounds of the forest, alongside old stone fences, above and beyond the history. The forest is spooky in and of itself. Not only do animals regularly wail while Danny enters the forest, but the remoteness, the wind and rain, and the strange and random items he comes across makes for an even spookier encounter. He first comes across a bathtub filled with dirt and a red liquid. Still, he enters deeper in the forest, only to say Bloody Mary 3 times into a mirror posted up on a tree.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
And look who appears behind him in the mirror. Once Danny sees Mary, he starts to wander in the forest, looking for her. Whatever this is chases Danny out of the forest. When he at last arrives to his car, you think he's finally safe. Think again. If this doesn't make you fear ever going to this location, what will? An African expedition becomes tense when a group sees a hippo nearby and then lose sight of it.
Oh, it's a hippo for sure, yeah. He just kept charging, he was feeding it.
Hippos are known to overturn boats and other craft, so they have to be careful.
Just watch, because he charged down this channel there.
Just when one of them says it could be nearby, the animal comes out of the water and gives them a surprise. Fortunately, this one looks like a scared juvenile that just wants to get out of there more than anything. If it was a few years older, this video would have probably come to a much more brutal conclusion. A YouTube channel called Golden Hour travels to a local lake that is just barely frozen over. They walk out a pretty good distance and then start taking turns hitting the ice right next to each other with an axe. It's a crazy game they've just come up with to see whoever will fall through first. The only problem is that they aren't exactly sure how deep this part of the lake is and the temperature is freezing. They soon decide to end this game early before anyone gets hurt. But then they come up with another equally crazy variation. This time they stand on the ice and try to sink themselves instead of each other. Thankfully, the spot they are standing in is only knee deep, but I just wanted to stress that they could have easily been standing on a sharp embankment and could have gone completely under. If that would have happened, they wouldn't have had very long to get out before it's too late. An ownerless shadow is in this alley. Moments later, a motorbike moves all by itself for almost 10 seconds before dropping hard. This incident is being mislabeled as a paranormal video as far as I'm concerned. Here's why. A strong wind blows through this drafty alley, so maybe a gust of wind popped up the kickstand and sent the bike in motion. Likewise, the shadow could be a result of this thing flapping overhead. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the legitimacy of this creepy moment, so help me decide if this bizarre street cam video is really paranormal. A man named John Crawford casually walks around a Walmart in Beaver Creek, Ohio, well armed. Here you can see him standing in an aisle on the right side of the screen.
Gun in the store.
Is he got it pulled out?
Yeah, he's like pointing at people.
What does he look like?
The 911 caller grows more nervous with each passing moment and tells the operator that the situation is growing dire.
I don't know what he's just like looking around, waving it. He looks like he's just trying to load it.
He's just trying to load it?
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Soon a family of 3 walks down the same aisle as John Crawford and starts checking out some animals for sale. This is where the 911 call gets kind of strange.
My name is Ronald Ritchie. He just pointed at like 2 children.
Okay.
Watch the video again and you'll see that John never really aims at the kids. In fact, the family barely reacts to his presence, and I'm not sure if they even notice him at all. One of them hangs around a bit longer before leaving, so I wouldn't say they were exactly in distress, but the way the 911 caller describes the man and his actions understandably has the police on edge. An officer arrives on the scene expecting trouble, and a brief altercation ensues. The surprised suspect is laid to rest on the spot after police thought he was going to attack. As it turns out, John Crawford was simply buying an airsoft at Walmart on that day. The person who called 911 did not get in any trouble, but many now agree he was overreacting. Let me know if you would have called the police based on what you've seen on this CCTV video. This one is especially haunting. Published to YouTube by TVR Exploring in December of 2019. The uploader explains that Ingolchek was a mining town that was abandoned twice, once by the dissolved Soviet Union, and then again by a foreign company that tried its hand to little success. But it wasn't the environment that surprised TVR Exploring, it was the encounter he had underground that he can't get out of his head. After TVR films the remote mountainside and the surrounding buildings, he heads into the mine, where he's looking at some rusted old gear left on a workbench. You start to hear howling from deep within the tunnel. There's water dripping, which drowns out the sound somewhat, but you can hear distinctly the otherworldly scream as TVR describes it. Although he's a self-proclaimed skeptic and doesn't necessarily consider the sound to be supernatural, TVR says all the hairs stood up on the back of his neck. After reflecting, he still doesn't know its source, and he asks his audience for their thoughts. Some say it's obviously a ghost or demon, others the wind, and still others consider it may be hydraulic. Although there's no definitive answer, everyone seems to agree that this man is extremely brave. In 2004, a student at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst named Mara Murray went missing. She had been acting very strangely, like crying at work and taking someone's credit card before she disappeared. She was eventually seen in New Hampshire, stranded at the side of the road. Someone called the police, but when they arrived, she was gone. This video, called Happy Anniversary, was originally uploaded by a YouTuber named 112 Dirtbag. It was put up shortly before the 8th anniversary of her disappearance. This is haunting enough, but it gets worse. The YouTuber's name, 112 Dirtbag, is believed to be a reference to something Mara's father once said. He said that she was probably picked up by some dirtbag on Route 112. This video was quickly taken down and the original uploader was never found. This doll room is said to be quite haunted, and you're about to see why when this tassel starts moving by itself. It looks like certain portions of the covers move by themselves, as indicated by their square motion boxes, but it's actually just this woman who is moving in her sleep and easy to miss. So either this is fake, or the combined paranormal energy of all these creepy dolls is enough to get this ornament to move. Robert Arbuckle is the name of a man whose spirit is said to still inhabit this restaurant in Florida called Pelican's Alley. 2 ghost investigators stand on the other side of the kitchen door, where Robert is seen the most. You can see it is empty.
There it goes again. You see it underneath the door? It's getting darker and darker in that left-hand side for some reason.
A side profile of a man definitely appears in the doorway, yet when they go inside, the figure is gone. The question is whether or not this was a third friend, or in fact Robert himself. The silence and foggy stillness underwater are spooky enough, but encountering a ghostly wreck 20,000 leagues under the sea will put you in another world. Published to YouTube by Tim Powell in February of 2010, this footage captures the aftermath of the SS Thistlegorm in the Red Sea. The British armed merchant ship was powered by a triple expansion steam engine and built in 1940. A year later, in October of 1941, Germans sunk the SS Thistlegorm near Egypt. The ship was headed to Alexandria on its fourth and what would be its final voyage. The ship sailed south around Cape Town, South Africa. Due to the German and Italian occupation of the Mediterranean, an accident in the Suez Canal caused the cargo to be held up and moored at safe anchorage F for about a month, which turned out to be not so safe, since there is where it was sunk. Guided by local fisherman Jacques Cousteau, rediscovered the wreckage years later, recording his findings in his book The Living Sea. Ever since, the shipwreck, which lies about 100 feet below the surface at its deepest, has been a hotspot for recreational divers, mainly due to its treasure trove of cargo. After all, it's a steam train that's been waterlogged for upwards of 80 years. This footage is a window into its underwater world that fish, seaweed, barnacles, and coral reefs have now overtaken. Behind this bed, there used to be a door. Look closely to the left of the lamp here and you'll see the outline where it was painted over. There's just one problem. Apparently something on the other side doesn't understand that this is no longer a passageway. The knocking sounds polite yet urgent, definitely human. It really does sound like someone who believes that they belong in this room and expects to be let in at any moment. It seems like her problem is not going to go away on its own anytime soon. I really wouldn't want to see what's inside of that wall, but it might be the only way to end the problem for good, or maybe make it way worse. YouTuber Johnny Paranormal 74 writes that they caught this on Alonzo's live earlier this evening. The live stream was captured in an empty mausoleum in Mexico. Let's take a look.
¿Escuchas? ¿En qué parte estás? ¿Lo viste? ¿Lo viste?
Se cerró todo. Pensé que iba a tronar.
Se cerró la puerta. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Se cerró la puerta, Clary.
When he looks inside, you can see there's nobody there.
A ver qué es lo que hay adentro. La puerta está cerrada, miren. La puerta está cerrada. Bien nomás. Voy a abrir más.
Do you see what I see? If not, you're about to hear it.
Dime, estás aquí. Mira, otra vez. ¿Lo viste? Alguien está dentro, Clary.
Did you hear that? I'm sure you did, because as I see it, this is one of the most scary videos you'll ever see. D-Menace is a YouTuber from the Ukraine who gets a thrill from exploring abandoned places. He's really pumped to see every level of this old factory because in his mind, the bigger the building, the better the adventure. But little does he know this urban exploration has already gone wrong in a scary way. The abandoned place has a lot of dead-end rooms, not to mention a creepy basement that fills him with unease. He can't even imagine who would ever live down here, but it looks like someone has before. The scariest place in the whole factory has to be this window, because of what he's about to see next.
He's coming. Oh, wait.
D-Menace is most likely walking around someone's turf. We all know where there's one creepy stranger, there's most likely more. Perhaps a whole misfit crew who doesn't take kindly to new faces, especially ones walking around with expensive camera gear waiting to get jacked. He soon suspects he's possibly being followed and decides to cut the urban exploration short before something else goes wrong. And it does. On the way out, he sees somebody stationed on the other side of a wall, like they're waiting for him. He accidentally makes a sound and the legs disappear from view. The exit is within sight and he is trying his best to creep along this wall unseen. He is tall and wearing a hat, so he's easy enough to see. Within seconds, a man stands over him, the same scary man he watched from the window. After a tense conversation, he soon learns that they are simply exploring the same abandoned place he is, and probably thought they were being followed. It's a simple misunderstanding, but I can't help but wonder if this was scripted, because at 10 minutes and 50 seconds, it looks more like D-Menace is trying not to laugh rather than truly being scared. I guess we all react different to fear, so maybe the anxiety from getting caught is what caused this nervous smile. Anyway, the two urban explorers exchange information and agree to go look at more abandoned places together someday. Tell me if you think they knew each other beforehand, because if not, this encounter would have absolutely been terrifying for both parties. When you happen upon a cave carved into a mountainside, you might want to think twice before entering. Published to YouTube by the Highway 9 in September of 2017, this video serves as a warning to never ever go caving alone. The footage takes you through a deep and dark rock-hewn cave. Along the way, bats are seen hanging from the ceiling, and a long black centipede-like insect is climbing the walls. But the creepiest part is yet to come. As the YouTuber rounds a corner, he senses something deeper in the tunnel. He presses on, peering into the darkness, and seems to see a figure beyond. Highway writes, "I'm not sure what I saw, but it scared the wits out of me." Needless to say, he fled the scene as anyone would. YouTuber LeeStat444 writes in the comments, "This is what happens when you enter a cave full of bats, dusts, and insects. You find Batman." Whether this unfortunate explorer found that or something much more nefarious is anybody's guess, but I'm gonna err on the side of the second choice. A couple of friends are driving around late at night, probably just to unwind for the day and have a good time with one another. During the drive, one of the guys in the car says that he thinks he saw some sort of animal, like a buck, wandering around in the bushes right next to them. It almost seems like they are about to get out of the vehicle to take a closer look, but as you'll find out why in just a second, it's a good thing they didn't.
I thought I seen a big buck or something. Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is it a buck? What is that? Dude, that's what a...
What the heck? Look how big its arm span is, like arm, upper torso, and then the middle part of its torso just looks so thin along with its legs. Like it's just so built on just like the upper part of its body here. It's just super bizarre. And its skin almost looked gray. One more time here.
You seen a big buck or something? Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is it a buck? What is that? Dude, that's what a... Wait, stop right there. What is that? Is it a buck? What is that? Dude, that's what a...
Besides the obvious creature jumping in the woods that oddly resembles the urban legend a rake, a lot of people in the comments are confused as to where the YouTube channel Paranormal News received this video, because the channel is Russian owned, but as you can tell, the men in the video are very much so American. Regardless of who it was filmed by though, this is one creature you would never want to see. Even if it is fake, it would startle you, especially this late at night. Okay, think of this scary video as a what would you do type situation. A woman named Letitia Patterson is walking back to her car when a strange man who is acting beyond creepy in my opinion begins to follow her. She lets him know that he's caught on camera, and the video gets more outrageous from there.
Hold on, I'm about to record you because if something happened to me, they gonna have you on camera.
That's right.
Somebody come get their family member.
That's right.
Following me.
I think capturing his weird behavior on tape is the right move, but showing him where she parked is not the safest decision. She could have walked away to get help, but I guess she felt like she was going to take control of the scary moment, and so she overcomes her fears and confronts the stranger, getting more bizarre video on camera for us to analyze.
Yep, bye. You're not getting in my car.
The strange man attempts to get her to laugh it off, playing off his aggression as harmless flirting, but he is not respecting her boundaries, which to me is beyond creepy, and a major warning sign that she should get away fast. He follows around her car for a bit, and then he's standing by her door when the creepy encounter takes another bizarre turn.
I don't even know you.
Hey, delete that camera. I'll grab that phone from you and break it.
Look.
Delete that on camera, please.
Well, can you get away from my car?
Yeah, but delete that recording.
I'll delete it as soon as I see you start walking that way.
But the mysterious man walks towards her instead, closer than ever as you can see at 1 minute and 27 seconds, and she realizes by now that he isn't going away, and that this scary moment could escalate if she doesn't get help.
Hey, y'all call 911. This guy just followed me around the store.
I think asking a stranger to call 911 was the right decision, because he could have taken the phone out of her hands if she stopped recording him. The camera is a good deterrent, and also she needs to continue to record evidence. Police investigators haven't found him yet as far as I know, but check this part out. I think he says his name here at 7 seconds. She's talking at the same time, but tell me if you can understand what he says.
They gonna have you on camera.
That's right.
Somebody come get their family member.
At least one other woman claims to have had a similar creepy experience with a scary stranger. So the evidence seems to suggest that he could be terrifying people just for fun. Freaky, right? This video experiment proves something which many governments do not want the general public to know. Turning objects invisible is actually way easier than you would think. Look what happens when this YouTuber lowers a basic glass test tube into vegetable oil.
But if I actually put it in far enough that the entire test tube is submerged, it vanishes almost completely.
This simple experiment proves that certain liquids can actually bend light around an object to render it invisible. The key is pairing the right reflective properties with the right objects. This basic scientific principle is what governments are currently experimenting with to create cloaking devices for humans and even aircrafts one day, if they haven't done so already. To further prove their point, this YouTuber pulls out a second test tube that's been hidden in the center of the glass the whole time. Let me know if you think this experiment really does have any military potential, or if this whole idea is too far-fetched to have any practical use. When you hear footsteps approaching your room, you'd better lock the door. Posted by Eli Walt KG to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures something invisible entering the Redditor's room. Turn up the volume and you can indeed hear footsteps as Eli films the door of his bedroom. Then quietly the door creeps open. While most can agree this would make a normal person freeze, some commend the Redditor's bravery while others, like Redditor B565656 warn him, have you learned nothing from horror movies? You don't walk towards the sound in the dark. Totally, who knows what's lurking in the darkness beyond that door? Things aren't what they seem in this scary video. Redditor Amanda Loves Rufus 1 posted this clip of her neighbor's house. Watch the counter closely. Something neon blue seems to escape from the counter. Watch again. It looks like a flame bursting upward, but it disappears within an instant. Those in the comments seem to agree, with some saying it looks like gas igniting. Could this be a gas leak? Or as others suggest, a camera glitch? I think these homeowners should check their carbon monoxide and gas detectors, just in case. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.